I don't write poetry much anymore. But of course, I think poetry is terribly important, even though I write a lot of other stuff. You probably know some of my stuff. It's mostly political and historical and boring. And they use it in classes, Native American Studies. I happen to be a member of the Crow Creek Sioux tribe, born and raised at Fort Thompson. So, now bet you something. I think that the poet's indispensable role, you see, is to be a mirror of our own collective conscience. Conscience is the word there to take into consideration. So I suppose that's why I continue to write poems. I don't send them out anymore because I can't take a rejection. But I'm going to read 3 poems, and I think most of the time we write poetry because we feel kind of hopeless and helpless. And so you write different kinds of poems, don't you? I sometimes write just for the hell of it poems, but most of the time I take poetry kind of seriously. And this is one of those just for the hell of it poems, but it is kind of serious too. It's called Whomever One Calls Whenever One Has a Quarter. And that, of course, is before we had all the blackberries. So this is kind of old, as I am. I drive many miles through towns where the only brick building is the liquor store. I pass by familiar land shapes, so spectacular, they never fail to turn my head. To places where white men, selfish to the bone, vague and secretive and loud, name themselves as nationalists who balance the trade in the red from Sundance to Newcastle, where Indian landlords are on a par with white trash drifters and wife beaters. An antelope stands in the mid-morning sun, looking like he has a bad stomach. In a canyon, a dog barks. Too many still don't get the message. My radio is playing Carlos Barbosa Lima's version of classical gas, and I worry that the pact we made in order to save ourselves makes us survivors of the wasteful dead. The distant sun mourning our lack of resolve, the wind dancing on telephone lines hooked up to oblivion.